Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. We gotta talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. This team looks absolutely ridiculous right now against the Colts. I think, and I've been saying this, they are the best 1-4 team in the sport. I think you do not want to bet against them right now. I think they should have be, like 3-2. That game against the Dolphins that they lost, that was completely on Travis Etienne. He fumbled it jumping into the end zone, and they were going to be up like 14 points at that point in the fourth quarter, and they would have won that game, but you fumble it, let a return happen, and then they get a touchdown or field goal, I believe, and then they end up walking it off with Jason Sanders getting a field goal to win the game against them. They should have won that game, and that really hurt them. And overall, the guy who's been hurting them the most is Travis Etienne. And he did not play this game much. He really didn't get too many carries. He only got 6 carries. The guy who got most of the carries is Tank Bigsby, who a lot of people have been hyping up last year in fantasy. Well, guess what, guys? You should add this guy to your fantasy team now. He had 129 yards, 2 touchdowns on 13 carries. He had 1 catch for 27 of those yards, too. So he has some receiving upside, it appears. And, yeah, he was amazing this game. Really. And it's not like Travis Etienne's really going to be bad. He's going to be in that, sort of Austin Eckler type role. And maybe this will help him, getting less of a workload, let him feel more free, potentially, not like how workhorse back, which he's tried to be this year, and it has not worked. Maybe he can get back to going, because we do know Travis Etienne can be a really good running back in the NFL. He was so good last year, really good 2 years ago in the playoffs, I believe it was, against the Chiefs. Obviously, he was pretty good. And guys, Brian Thomas Jr. bursted onto the scene. I mean, this guy is my favorite wide receiver drafted this year for a reason, and he looks so good. 122 yards on 5 catches and long 85-yard touchdown. This guy is electric. And the best part about this is you have a true wide receiver 1 now, I think, for the Jaguars, which is what Trevor Lawrence has never had in his career up to this point. He had 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, but it wasn't a bad interception by any means. You're having to score a lot of points this game, obviously, because Joe Flacco was slinging that thing like crazy. Josh Downs looked really good. Alec Pierce looked really good. Pittman was there, obviously, and it was just a really good overall play on the offensive side from the Colts. And I'd say Joe Flacco is a top 10 passer right now in the NFL whenever he's playing with the Colts. I know that's kind of probably a questionable take by many of you guys. You probably don't really agree with that, but when you looked at last year, he's really a gunslinger. Whenever he's just feeling it, he cannot be stopped. He does throw interceptions at times, but there's games where he just looked absolutely perfect last year for the Colts. And the Browns. And yeah, that was really because they had Amari Cooper, they had Cedric Tillman, they had all these guys that he could just throw the ball. David Njoku looked the best he's ever looked in his entire career with Joe Flacco at quarterback. And that's because Joe Flacco is sees everything so well, can read defenses at a high level, and when you put him with a great coach, which the Colts have, it's really something else. Like, I know Anthony Richardson's probably going to come back soon, so Jaguar fans, you should be happy, because the Colts are probably going to lose a lot of games whenever Anthony Richardson is starting. That's just the fact. Anthony Richardson has a lot to do. He's never been the best player or best quarterback in anything on his team, really. Even in college, he let up a lot of bad plays, a lot of bad misjudgment from him, turning the ball over a lot. And honestly, Christian Kirk, 4 catches, 88 yards today, looked really good. He's really good in that wide receiver 2 role. Obviously playing out of the slot, he's so good there. And finally doesn't have as much attention on him. And then I hope we see Evan Ingram get more into the game eventually. I can't remember if he's hurt right now or what. I didn't see him really on the stat sheet at all. I can't remember even seeing him play this game. But, a guy who really jumped off the screen today was Trayvon Walker. 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 pass deflection. This guy is the first overall pick for a reason. I've been actually doing a lot of like on Twitter, I see so many people bash him for Aiden Hutchinson, especially after Aiden Hutchinson had 4.5 sacks that one game. Yeah, I said, well, Trayvon Walker's a great player, really good in the run game, can also, get some pass deflections. He can drop into coverage, and, he was going to always be a work in progress, especially, but when you had a guy like Josh Allen on the other side, it really did help him out. And look at this, 3 sacks this game. I think Trayvon Walker is a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year. I completely mean that. Like, this is a really great game from him. And this is a guy who can have, 15 sacks a season. He had 10 sacks, double-digit sacks last year. Kind of went under the radar. And this year, I think he's going to do a lot more than that. I think he's going to have 15 this year. I think he's a really good player. I think this is a good game to get other teams to see him on their radar. I think he'd even have more if the DBs are better. I mean, you're talking about Trey Flowers, Ronald Darby, if you remember him. You had, I can't remember who the other guy was I saw on the stat sheet, but there's just some guys who are not that great in coverage. Oh, yeah, Darnell Savage from the Packers, Maryland safety, remember that? And then he, signed with the Jaguars this past offseason. You still have Andre Sisco back there, but they don't really look great at corner. I know they're missing their best corner, but this just doesn't look like a great, DB group. I won't lie, and that's the biggest concern really for this. I mean, you still have Devin Lloyd back there in the middle of the field, and then you have, Eric Armstead, who's not bad either in the middle, and then Hamilton. Both D tackles, still pretty good players overall. I don't think it's going to hurt this team too much to be missing their best corner, but overall, I don't think their defense is going to be exceptional this year, but we just have to wait and see. I think they could still be really good, but this offense, if you have Tank Bigsby playing at a high level at running back, I think this is just going to open up the passing game more. And the really good thing about the Jaguars passing game is when you look at the interior of the offensive line, with now having Mitch Morse at center, then you have Ezra Cleveland, and then Brandon Sheriff at guards. They're really good pass protection guards. Ezra Cleveland was a great trade last year for this team to go ahead and get. Mitch Morse was an upgrade at center, in my opinion. And then you also have Cam Robinson at left tackle, who's been a pretty good, left tackle for the most part, over the past 3 years. I know he got busted for steroids at one point, but honestly, I love to see that because your left tackle is going to be super strong. They still have questions at right tackle. They have a younger guy playing there. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he's not awful at all. He's not good, but he's not awful. He can still improve. Overall, I really like what I'm seeing from this Jaguars offense and defense. Overall, I think they're going to be really successful down towards the later half. I wouldn't be surprised, in October, if they go undefeated. November, if they could go undefeated out one of those months. I know 3 years ago, it's probably been 3 years ago now, but that year that they, I think it was Trevor Lawrence's sophomore year, they went insane end of October into November, went on a 6-game win streak, and then jumped up a lot in the rankings, and people were expecting, Trevor, I think this may have been 2 years ago now, and they expected Trevor Lawrence to just, burst on the scene. Obviously, last year was a really bad year from this Jaguars team, but I think this year, even though you're 1-4, I still think in everything, I think they can still make the playoffs as a 7th seed. If not, maybe the 6th seed. I don't know if they'll win the division. I don't think they really can with the Texans, unless they somehow, could come out there and just destroy the division in divisional play. Obviously, this is a great start playing against the Colts, but it's really hard to beat the Texans right now. The Texans look insane, and they were able to beat the Bills today. So that's going to be the end of the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you think of the Jaguars. And also, make sure to go check in my link. I got my socials for, TikTok and Instagram, post on there daily. And yeah, peace.